Hey guys, Selwyn here from WynnStrength.com, bringing you day 3 of week 7 of the Powerbuilding 2 template by Barbell Medicine. Right now we're getting through the warm-ups. As you can see, we started off with the empty bar for some Romanian deadlifts, and we're stepping up the weight as usual, 135, 185, 225 and so on, and we're ramping down the reps as we increase the weight because we are aiming for some heavy singles today. Following the deadlifts will be some bench press accessory movement with the 2-count pause, and then following up with the lever row for some volume back work for the end of today. So I'm excited to see where it goes today, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we're getting through the warm-ups. We moved over to heavy singles. I like to ramp down the reps as I increase the weight. That way we get a bit more volume work in the warm-ups, and we get a little bit more of a warm-up movement with lighter weights rather than a lot of excessive movements with a heavy weight. So the warm-up kind of have to have a balance between moving and not moving too much, because when you move too much you're going to be too fatigued to do the heavy weights towards the end of the day, or the end of the workout I should say. So we're moving over to heavy singles. We'll increase the rest period just a little bit, aiming for about 1 to 2 minute rest period. So pretty much I'll record these videos and then get back to loading the weights and hitting that sets. So last week we hit 440 for one at around an RPE 8.5. So let's shoot for either 445 or 455 this week. Okay, so we're about 40 minutes in, hitting the tail end of the warm-ups. We just hit 405 for single. It's coming up a little slow, it feels like, but I think I have a little bit more in the tank. I'm thinking I'm going to shoot for 455 today. Bold statement, but we're about to do 425, so we'll see how 425 feels. A couple of cues I like to use that have helped me is to think of making your butthole touch this wall and your chest face that wall. That way you're really creating a nice flat surface that can stabilize the body. Another one is to breathe into your obliques and really think about creating that 365-degree pressurization, pushing against the belt as much as possible. That helps a lot too, as well as not moving the bar back and forth. This is one thing that helps with video analysis, is to look back and see if the plates move back and forth. If you can, it's good to mark the plates with like a number like I have, or if you're at the gym, think of looking at the logo on the plates. Generally, like it's a round surface, unless you have those hex plates, which I really don't recommend deadlifting with the hex plates. Just because I'm not a big fan of it, but that would show you if the bar moves back or forth. So it's helpful in that regard, but not helpful in a lot of other regards. But in video analysis, looking back, look at how the plate moves. If it shifts back and forth, it means you have the wrong setup. Just got done with 440 for a single. Came up pretty well, a little bit slow, but I think we have a little bit more in the tank, so I'm going to shoot for 455 and see how that feels for today. Based on the speed, I think it was about an RPE 7, probably pushing 7.5, but I really think if I give myself a little bit more of a longer rest period, I'll be able to hit 455. So let's shoot for around a 5-minute rest period, and then I'll attack 455 after this. Okay, so we just hit 455 for a single. That felt really good. Got a little pumped up before the lift, so got a little bit of aggression into the setup, and it really made that weight feel lighter. I think that's, again, I mentioned it in previous week, that I think getting some aggression into the heavier sets really helps, especially with the deadlift, because technically it's not that difficult. You're just picking something up, just a few key things to remember. But once you have that mentality for focus and technical aspect down and packed through the warm-ups, you've solidified your technique for the day. I think definitely towards the end of the sets, when the weight gets really heavy and it's starting to test you, really dial up that aggression and pick that lift, pick the weight up with some meaning there. One thing that I am a little puzzled with the RPE training is that kind of went up relatively quick. It feels like I could have put more weight on the bar, but I don't think I could have done 2 more reps with that weight. So this is, I think, where you need to learn your own body. I know that for me, conditioning is a big issue, so lifting that amount of weight once might feel easy, but doing more reps of that probably isn't the best way for me, so I like to base it on speed of the lift. I don't think that was too slow, so I think I can safely call that an RPE 8. It also feels like I could have added a bit more weight to the bar, but not too much, so I think it's a good balance there where to strike. And as the weeks go on, as my experience with RPE training does go up too, with the months and the years that I'll be foreseeing in the future, I'll get a bit of a better handle on how to analyze an RPE for a lift. So that's something that you might come across where your own perspective on the lift is kind of skewed, or you have some hesitation as to how to rate that. I think rate it anyway, and then you'll develop a baseline, or at least you'll set up data points within your own brain as to what 8 may or may not feel like, but if that's an 8 for you, then that's an 8 for you. At 395 for sets of 5. Again, conditioning is the limiting factor here. I can feel myself weakening towards the end of the set, so obviously that's an RPE 9. I don't think it's a strength issue. I think I really need to focus on improving my conditioning so that I can keep up with these workouts. Over time that'll happen, I know, but it's something I should be really focusing on if I want to hit that next level. I think that's becoming a theme that I'm noticing by narrating this and going over my experiences in the moment. So I think this is a good thing. It's helping me highlight some weaknesses that I have, which are plenty. Obviously, everyone always has a lot of weaknesses, but I think I can highlight conditioning and stamina and endurance as one of my big issues here. So it's something I do need to focus on in the coming months and years. That way I'm able to improve my strength, because strength is only a factor. I know this is coming from me where I really focus on strength, but in order to build strength, I need to be able to last throughout the entire workout and put out maximal effort. And if I can't do that, I'll find it a lot harder to build up that strength. So moving forward, we only have 1 or 2 sets of deadlifts to go where I drop it by 5%. So we do have 375 on the bar. We're going to repeat. We're either going to get 1 or 2 sets depending on which set feels like an RPE 9. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so I guess that answers the question, how many more sets can I do? And that'll be 1 at 375. So 375 for 5s, RPE 9. If you notice towards the tail end of the set, you'll see I could feel it. My form starts to break down. I can feel my lower back start to curl a little bit or shift during the pickup. The weight is coming up shakily. I'm not tight anymore, so I'm going to call it there. Again, don't think it's really a strength issue, definitely stamina. So that'll wrap up deadlifts for this week. Nevertheless, pretty stoked with the results. We hit a 15-pound increase on the single, as well as a 10-pound increase for our first volume set. So pretty happy with those 2 numbers there. Now we move on to some 2-count pause bench presses. Okay, so just about halfway through working sets of 2-count pause bench press, followed by some lever rows. One of the best things about having a garage gym is I'm able to superset with a movement like this. I don't know how much space this will take up in a commercial gym, but probably frowned upon. I guess you could bring a dumbbell over instead of the barbell and do some dumbbell rows supersetted with the bench press. That'll take up a lot less room. But I think one of the best things you can do as a home gym or a garage gym owner is to get at least 2 barbells. I started off with a cheap one and then upgraded to the higher pound bar, probably twice the price of the cheaper one, the Cap OB86. But if you can at least afford to get 2, an expensive one and a cheap one, you wouldn't have to get 2 expensive ones. That kind of unnecessary unless you really want to. Worst case scenario, get 2 OB86s. That way it gives you flexibility to do something like this and really cut down the time of the workout. So the deadlifts took about 1 hour and 10 minutes, and we're at 1 hour and 40 minutes, including warm up, and we're just about to do 1 more set of this and I'll be done for the day. So opening up the flexibility of training options and exercise movement patterns is great by having multiple barbells in the house. Got a little bit too eager to call it a day. It is an hour and 50, so probably going to have right around the 2-hour mark, which is a pretty good finish for today considering we did hit some heavy weights on the deadlifts. I have switched over to using straps for the lever rows. I don't really care at this point, so my grip's pretty shot from the deadlifting, so I really wanted to get a good back workout in for today, so I'm going to be continuing to use the straps for this accessory movement. Okay, so we got done with the extra volume sets. Pretty gassing, so pretty out of breath right now, but that wraps it up for the day. I actually got in an hour 55 minutes, so that was a pretty good result. We're able to knock off about 5 minutes from what I thought. Means I took less rest periods towards the end, so I guess it is capable. So something I really need to push myself towards doing is improving that conditioning, as I've said numerous times throughout this video and the previous videos. So I'm thinking that week 7 is almost coming to a close. We just did deadlifting today, which went really well. I'm pretty stoked with today's results all around. Improvements, if not the same weight. Actually, no, we improved on the weights used all around, so I'm happy with progress for this week. And again, I think it just goes to show that strength isn't a linear progression. It ebbs and flows and builds and accumulates. So you'll have plateaus, you'll have huge increases, you'll have decreases sometimes, and it's all just part of the journey. So don't get too stressed or worried when the progress isn't showing itself on a daily or a weekly basis. Reframe your mindset to focus on the long term, and really you should be more worried if you're not putting in the actions. So focus on putting in the work and then focus less on the results that you're getting out of it. So again, just wrapping up for day 3 of week 7. Thanks for tuning in if you've made it this far. This has been Selwyn from WynnStrength, and remember, a better life through strength.